for live! Ooh, almost in a double digits. Ooh, unbelievable. Welcome, everybody, to the Byzantian Brewscast with your host, Chaotic Jixak.
And Byzantian.
Hey, hope everyone is doing very well. How has your week been, my good colleague?
It's been busy. But but before we do the funny stuff, do you mind if I do a bit to has been some news
Absolutely,
that
yep, yep, yep.
yes, with the Kira Toriyama, the creator of Dragon Ball, died this week.
Yeah.
So it's been like a couple like it's the 8th. So just so I'd like to do a little bit of explanation as to obviously I mean, what got me into like his stuff in the first place because
Mm-hmm.
everyone's doing like their why they like his stuff. And so imagine it. So at the time I was like 17 and still getting to like family holidays. So we would often go to Cornwall, and that was having a
Hey.
bit of an angsty phase. So at this point, the PSP was still really huge.
Mm-hmm.
I still had my PSP in working order, and because it was having like an angsty moment, I had the option of staying in the really nice like holiday home that the parents were in, but wanted to be cool and stuff, I guess. So I thought, no, I'll be in like the summer shed instead, in the middle of winter.
Oh.
Uh, really should have decided to come in. I didn't anyway. And all I remember it was like for like 3 nights in a row, like we were in like Falmouth and I bought like it would have been Tenkaichi tag team
Mm-hmm.
for the Dragon Ball. Up until that point, I've like never seen. Obviously, I knew about Dragon Ball because
Yeah.
it's like anime manga 101. But I never actually touched any of the games until that one.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like really fondly, just like almost literally freezing my balls off for like the better part of three
Aw.
nights in the middle of winter with naught but my PSP and maybe a lamp to see by.
Aw.
And from there on, and from that was my introduction to Dragon Ball and
Mm.
mainly the man's art style. So it's yeah, so
Huh.
that's a piece says a thing. I think like if you're into manga anime at all, you've kind of got to owe him something
Yeah, it's
because I think without his
near enough. I think 90% of like modern manga is inspired in some way by Dragon Ball, and there's at least like one Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z reference in most manga and anime. I think at this stage.
yeah, it's like people like I think like prior to it, I don't think you'd have many people in the West knowing what it was.
Mm.
I think by the time Z's rolled around, um, and then, like and done that original run, even people that don't know anime and manga will be able to identify Goku, especially now.
Yeah, because it was on like
They
Cartoon
never watched a
Network.
single thing. Yeah, that was when it got its big break. Um,
But
don't mean to
no, it's
drag the
fine. I
mood
will
down,
do
but
the
this
same
is a
thing.
bit of a
So I think we should like
sorry.
officially dedicate this episode of Byzantian Brews to Akira Toriyama. I think that would be appropriate. So pour one out for you,
Yeah,
you good sir. My first experience with anything Akira Toriyama actually wasn't Dragon Ball, and it wasn't Dragon Quest
oh,
either. It was Blue Dragon on the Xbox 360.
I played so much Blue Dragon.
I played a bit of
The only
it,
thing I
but
didn't beat was
because I was like really young
oh,
at
the
the
only thing I
time.
didn't beat was
Huh?
King Golden Poo. Oh
Ah.
my god, that was awful.
Yeah, I didn't get very
Uh,
far in it because I was kind of young at the time, and it wasn't really an easy game to figure out what you were supposed to do. So I didn't play it all that much. But I do remember I loved this art style, and I loved this like mechanic of them having their shadows. This was even pre JoJo for me. I was like, oh, that's an interesting way of fighting. And then I played years later. I think it was Dragon Quest Nine was like the easiest one to get a hold on DS. Sentinels of the Starry Skies because I played some Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I was like, I like this style of RPGs. In fact, you can even see some of our emotes on Twitch. I think Cucumber Pogo come. Yeah, so Cucumber Pogo comes from that, which is one of the cruel cucumbers from Dragon Quest Nine. So again, even Toriyama has even influenced me in this stream.
Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't know people actually played Blue Dragons. That's kind of cool. I really love that game.
I might do a series on it
I
at
did a
some
lot of
point.
that one.
I think I should do that as a YouTube series or at least a Twitch series. I might try and play it, get a copy of it. I don't know if it's backwards compatible with Xbox One, but I might give it a shot.
I can certainly assist you with that. I know I maxed out pretty much every
Ooh,
shadow by the end of it. I
nice.
100% did that one. Yeah. Yes. Apart from that, my week's in half decent. Well, the
Good.
weekend was crazy. I was doing volunteering for the guide dogs down Crufts this weekend.
Oh, how did
So
that
that's
go?
been. Oh, we've definitely got over £1,000.
Hey.
Don't know how much over, but over.
Mm.
Um, and it, unsurprisingly, there's got loads of dogs. So it was a really cute time. I think I've got. I think of. Have you seen the photo popped in the other chat of one of the friends I made for like 5 minutes there?
The border collie.
Yeah, the Australian Shepherd.
Ah, that one. Yes, I saw. It was adorable. I was like, cute.
The best part, she wasn't even like with us. She just like belonged to someone who just walking by, and she just
Aw.
wanted to say hello really badly.
Aw, that's cute.
Yeah. So it's been a good weekend, but I'm glad to be not on my feet at the moment. To be
Mm.
honest, so I'm pooped.
I can imagine. I've had a relatively busy weekend too. So the Fallout set I was talking about from Magic came out this
Yes.
weekend. So I bought, of course, the Caesar's Legion deck. So I've been doing like Ave, glory unto Caesar all weekend, just playing this new deck.
Oh, food guys are.
Yes, it's very good. It's basically it makes a lot of tokens, then throws those tokens into combat, expecting them to die, and then getting bonuses because they die.
Oh, is it the sacrifice deck?
hmm But not in the like this usual way of
Okay.
sacrifice decks where you sacrifice your own things to effect. It's I know these things are going to die in combat. I am
Sacrifice the
hoping they die
token.
in
That's
combat.
right.
Yeah,
See, that makes more sense than sacrificing a card, to be honest.
yeah.
Okay.
But so that's what I've been doing this weekend. It's been a lot of fun, and I've been obviously doing sort of YouTube content in between because getting out a video near enough every day on two different channels is not easy, as it turns out.
People get burnout for a reason.
Yeah. Anyway, let me check the bookmarks. Where do we have our format? So, tabletop book club. I think we should get started with that. What do we have for tabletop book club this
Yes.
week? And until I
I
until
picked
I
out.
until I draw the tabletop book club logo, chat can enjoy some pug please for a bit.
Please. Oh,
Yeah, it's just that gif of the dancing pug.
oh, another one. Is that the one where the dude comes in and the post stops dancing when he's been watched?
Yeah, it's just the pug just shaking his ass.
He's really going for it. Yeah, I have one of the expansions to Frostgrave Ghost Archipelago,
Ooh,
um, which is did you do a Frostgrave one last week, if I remember rightly?
I think so.
The Ghost Archipelago. The main difference is rather than wizards and in a frozen city, it's your um, f- like a relative of someone who drank from this basically the fountain of youth,
Uh
and it
huh.
gave you crazy powers. And you're basically treasure hunting your way to try and find the spring and drink from it again.
hmm
It's more like it's pirates and explorers rather than wizards out for just looking through an old frosty city. I kind of like it because it's got loads of rules for fighting on small boats and a lot. And this book in particular, 'cause it's got loads of bits got on because it's got it's written for like two groups. groups of two rival player groups, but it's also got rules for NPC tribes. Like a lot of this book is dedicated to like expanding the actual game with NPC or not NPC tribes that can just join in the game as well and like make life
Ooh.
annoying. Yes, it's got and of course because they Osprey do a decent job of like just it's kind of like the Monster Hunter games. They always add new things every time. With every new book, there's always like some new monsters, some new weapons, uh new kind of units you can hire,
Mm.
and they've got whole rules for generating tribes and different stat blocks for all of it. So if you're into like DMing, even not even playing this particular game, I'd recommend it just for this because there's loads of there's random tables, um, there's campaign specific equipment, and loads of really interesting ideas for just how navigating like rivers and stuff like jungle exploration that you might not find in a more streamlined and more general D&D book where
Yeah.
they might have a bit in Chult, but they tend to, they sort of gloss over some of the details, turn it into survival check.
Yeah.
It's really, I'd say it's a proper good book for people wanting to DM any sort of jungle-based tabletop game
Mm.
because it gives you hints for generating NPC tribes if you want to go that far, navigating jungle terrain, and oh, let's have a look. There's a whole load of weird and all sorts of nice, lovely creatures like this. The like bog zombies,
Ooh.
weird undead like just petrified undead swamp zombies, and not quite dinosaurs. It's like vulture people,
Interesting.
lizard, different types of lizard people, uh, dinosaur stand-ins, all like the weird stuff that it just it's a lot of just interesting interesting stuff in it. It's a really good DM resource, and it's a good read, and it only weighs in at like 96 pages, so it's really not like a huge investment to read it. Um,
Mm.
I really like that for the Frostgrave stuff. Because they're never huge books, but you get a lot of content out of it, and it doesn't necessarily apply to just the game itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's Ghost Archipelago: Gods of Fire. It's Osprey Games. It's fairly recent, so it shouldn't be too hard to find to get a hold of.
Mm.
I paid about 20 quid for it, and
That's
that was
pretty
a
good
while
for.
back now. So yeah, not bad at all. It's probably cheaper now. So if you're interested in Frostgrave or just reading something to expand a bit of your for a bit of DM inspiration, I very highly recommend that one.
Cool. So as promised, this week I have the Starfinder Hero's Handbook, and already I'm seeing on the inside of the cover, it gives you a basic rundown of how to create a character, like right from the offset. So you like choose your race, choose your theme, choose your class, ability scores, etc., etc. It goes through the entire process in like just the first page. Obviously, it'll explain it more in a bit, but like it's really nice just to have this quick start guide or like just this, I guess like a cheat sheet kind of thing. Just okay, here's the lowdown effectively. Ooh. I really like the Yusoki, the rat people. I like them guys. Look at
Oh,
them.
the rat people.
Yes. Yes, I want to be a rat outlaw mechanic. I'm going to build shit. But yeah, so we have sort of
I quite like the
things.
Starfinder races.
Yeah.
There's
And like on page 2, it just
I say
tells you
the main
exactly all the
books.
dice you need too. Just immediately. Sorry.
Yeah, I do quite. Oh, sorry, I was going to say it's much harder over
Yeah.
remotely. Oh well. Right. Um, I was just going to say I quite like a lot of the races in this in Starfinder because they got all the main ones.
Hmm.
I've got the core book, and they've also got like some older ones, so you can still play. Like, let's say you still really like your elves and half elves. They're still there. They're just sort of sitting in the back
Mm.
as like a legacy race. They didn't cut them out entirely. Um, but personally, quite like the weirdly Android or like the Vesk, sort of like the big. They're like big lizard people. They're kind of cool.
Ooh, yeah. Like another thing I'm really liking just from the offset is there is a solo adventure starting from page 2, so you can kind of run through a single person through a quick adventure to teach them that will teach them the basics, which is really good, which really is really good. There's not enough out there of just
Ooh.
solo based adventures because sometimes you can't necessarily get a group of 4 people, especially when you're trying
The
to
other
teach
thing I quite
someone.
like about that,
Yeah.
the other thing about that particular bit as well is that if you need to, you can generate a character and actually try that character yourself through that just with the book being the DM.
Hmm. And it also just yeah. I love these like dossiers as well for each of the classes, like their recommended features, recommended stats, etc., recommended builds. The basic class features just goes through runs through all their spells in a really easy to read format with a bunch of different like symbols so you know which type of spell is which, so you know which ones are your attacking spells, which ones are your like detection and things spells, which are your healing. That's very useful. um yeah, I really am liking this, and the artwork, like in the previous, is just so good. It just oozes high sci fantasy. There's even like there's even like a couple pages and a couple of artworks that just remind me of Dune, and I'm like,
How do you feel about the goblins in it? Because they're kind of goofy looking in this one,
I kind
if
of
I remember rightly.
I don't mind them being goofy. I don't mind it terribly. Because you can always just reflave them as not goofy. You don't have to go by what's in the book. And it
Yeah,
does make me chuckle when I see them.
yeah, they've got like because they've got like 50 style spacesuits in the Paizo goblins. It's
Yeah.
really weird.
I'm liking the ships that they've done, the artwork of those ships. You know, your basic drop ship, your fast starfighter, your weird alien-looking starfighter, you kind of halfway between ship. I like this, and ship combat actually seems to be kind of important too. So it's like that's good. It's like, hey, guess what? We've actually done decent rules for this blinking thing because we realize that's important. Anyway, I thought it was interesting.
Um, are you thinking of actually running that at some point? Because that'd be quite cool.
I do want to run the adventure from the box because I've got the box, so I might run
Yeah,
it
that's fair.
at some point. Maybe when I need a break from Lamplight 1 week or something. Maybe.
It shouldn't take that long to run as well. It's a fairly short adventure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that was our tabletop book club for the week. Um, Honestly, people, if you can give Starfinder a go and let us know your adventures in the deep space in our Discord channel. Uh, do we have an critical fumble for this week?
Yes. Although it's not strictly tabletop, 'cause it's making the rounds. Have you heard about the Sweet Baby Ink stuff that's going down lately?
I have not.
Okay, so it's a fairly long story short. Sweet Baby Inc. is a consultancy business that works with video game narrative
Mm-hmm.
writers, and they do it in a way that they're very much like a diversity inclusion first kind of company.
Uh huh.
That fit, not all now, you know, not everything that they've assisted with has been a flop, but lately a lot of their stuff they've put their name to and assisted with has kind of gone a bit south.
Oh.
And a disgruntled employee of the company went rogue and put out a curated list on Steam of every game they worked on.
Oh.
and a lot of them happen to be flops. And other that, well, and what that's done is it's forced the company. Well, the company decided to go into hiding, even though they had they still had the list of games they worked on their own website, but they shut down the website once the curated disc came out on Steam. And apparently, it's sounding a bit like if you remember Gamergate, Gamergate all over again.
Oh
Um,
no.
the, the general complaint was they the people that work for Sweet Baby Inc. and it does have a few like spin-off and sister companies as well.
Hmm.
Um, when they get on the game, they tend to they don't do like diversity and inclusion in like a way that would like assist the plot. They do it in that sort of like very tick boxy kind of way,
Yeah.
which obviously rubs people the wrong way. And then they run a defense of saying, "Oh no, no, you just don't like insert X group of people here." Um, it's turned into an online fight all over again, like it was like literally 10 years ago. Um, so that's gone, well, predictably terribly.
Hmm.
If you remember the first time around. Actually, now I think about it, it is very much like Gamergate because one of the people who worked for, I think they still work for Sweet Baby Inc. Uh, actually has some ties to uh, Zoe Quinn, who was part of the controversy the first time around.
Oh dear.
So um, this is still fairly recent as well, so this might get bigger. Um, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Mm.
Um, so
Yeah.
yeah, this might be a running theme, depending on how badly the this is handled when it comes to PR. But
Well, it apparently looks like it's
hopefully,
already
it just
going to go absolutely
yeah.
swimmingly in terms of PR if they're already trying to hide. So,
Yeah, they're so proud of it before. It's really weird. It's like their own website obviously saying, "Look what we worked on," and
mm,
someone else from the company who's, I guess, disgruntled at that and just not happy with what they were having to do puts up this curated list of games they worked on. Then suddenly they get really sheepish about their own work.
yeah.
That does confuse me a bit.
But, oh well. Speaking of companies doing stupid things, my. Here's my critical farm of the week. I don't know whether to blame Rooster Teeth or Warner Brothers for this because Warner Brothers has dropped Rooster Teeth like a ton of bricks.
Oh yes, it's finally closing.
Yeah, yeah, to the surprise of some, but mostly nobody. Because this is what happens when you allow yourself to be bought out by a massive conglomeration. It's happened before, it'll happen again. What were you expecting?
It was sort of it's been dying a while though, hasn't it, Rooster Teeth?
Yeah, but I
Like
think
when they
that
started.
I think the troubles kind of started when they were first basically bought out by another company. I don't know if that's Warner Brothers or they sold that to
Yeah,
something else to Warner Brothers. I don't know. But it's like, yeah, when you sell out to a megacorp, things just get very boilerplate very quickly. And I think things like Ruby and Red versus Blue did not are the kind of things that do not benefit from being boilerplate at all. They just don't work like that.
yeah, they both ironically they both got cut as well.
Yep.
Um, yeah, although from what I did watch some like reviews of Ruby, and by the end, from what I hear, it got a little bit like drawn out and rubbish.
Yeah, it kind of like lost its own plot somewhere. It got very confusing.
It's like a TV series where they just like where they get a the first like three series, you're guaranteed to get something fairly good.
Mm,
Beyond that, you start getting a bit shaky on shaky ground. Maybe some of the cast drops off, or they get a new writer,
yeah.
and that's usually when things start to go off the track.
Mm. I think obviously, like, I think a lot of it probably happened when Monty Uam passed. I think the lead writer,
Oh,
got Lord rest his soul kind of
yes,
thing.
that's
But it was still okay for a while after that, and then it just went. I don't know where it went. And so, oh, we're in the land of dreams now, and
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I think something like that. It's like Ruby's Nightmares or something. I don't really understand. Oh, and this other subplot where Weiss kind of like stands up to her parents being rich snobby assholes, and then she gets kicked out of her house. I don't know exactly the connotations or what happened, but like, yeah, stuff just went okay. You know these characters that you know and you love and you've grown used to, and they have this very clear like personality. Fuck that.
Wasn't the series just about like Hogwarts but for fighting monsters?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, that's as far as I watched, and I thought it was okay.
Yeah, they had a few interesting like subplots to begin with, like the whole like the rebels thing and the whole, on the one hand they kind of have a point, but maybe you should be like super overly violent when you're trying to be a political group. Just maybe, but ugh, I don't know where it went after then. It went
I do
somewhere.
I, I do distinctly remember uh, like like during that weird like rebel group arc, there was like quite a lot of singing out of nowhere. Like they
Yeah.
decided quite loads of music now, and some of the songs weren't. They were a little bit like amateur theatre hour.
Yep. I
That
also
was about the time I stopped watching.
Yeah, I also remember around about fairly recently they did the DC crossover. I didn't watch it, but like they had this DC crossover look just kind of fucking out of nowhere. Like they really had to like hamstring the plot and the lore to make it fit for both DC and Ruby angles. Like what? Could have just not done that.
Justify Batman in this universe.
Yeah, I think it was more like justifying this random OC Green Lantern girl. Like, huh?
Oh no.
Like, what the fuck is this shit? It's like I think at that point it was like kind of even obvious. It must have been even obvious, like to the writers and showrunners, like, yeah, this thing is dying. Quick, add some Batman to it. That usually solves
Well,
things.
I will save it. It always
Yeah.
works. That's that's weird because like the last time I saw like a proper a big crossover between like weird brands, it was the Sonic the Hedgehog crossover with Monster Hunter, and it was surprisingly funny
Mm.
because it didn't like actually Monster Hunter did like a weird Witcher 3 crossover, but again that was only like one or two quests, and it didn't overhaul the entire game just
Yeah.
for the sake of.
It's like if you want to do weird crossovers, you kind of have to go like the Fortnite route and not take yourself seriously at all.
Oh
Don't
yeah,
even bother
like
taking yourself seriously at that point.
yeah, like take a hunting game and just have like the first quest be honest to God collecting 200 rings while Escape the City plays.
Brilliant.
It's,
Oh.
honestly, it's really fun, but it's definitely like a funny crossover, and they never
Mm.
really. It's not like relevant to the plot or anything. It's just a cool like we did a thing. Um, and the thing as well, I don't think Monster Hunter needed it either. It was just a thing that they thought would be funny.
Yeah. Uh, do we have any
So rest in
further
peace,
critical
Ruby.
fumble this week? Anything further to add? Because surprisingly enough, I haven't got any Wizards of the Coast news to report this week. We have broken the streak.
Hey, um, not game and tabletop wise, unless you count a senior dog having a little accident in the middle of the floor. It's Birmingham International.
Oh, oh dear.
No, not his own.
Yes.
It's not really its fault. He was like 14 and had like bladder
Yeah,
problems, you know.
I understandable. But yeah, I have nothing further to report. Let's move on to the next section, which is homebrew of the week.
Yes. I've been busy with this one because I've been thinking of potential campaigns for because I keep going back to the Monster Mansion thinking there's not enough dinosaurs in this.
Mm-hmm.
So I came up with a setting that's just for that. And I just have like rather than just like an entry this week, I've got like a whole. Well, it's not exactly 200 feet, but 200-foot area just to run a whole scenario in just for open world
Ooh,
travel.
nice.
It's basically a big old valley. Because I really like the uh, because in TSR it would be grid based travel
Mm-hmm.
where you actually, I suppose the first time around at least, you actually do the open world travel as part of the campaign rather than just every time going, yeah, yeah, you, and then only really bothering to fleshing it out if you get an encounter.
Hmm.
Um, so I've come up with it's a really simple idea of like of just you. Right, the base campaign premise is really simple. It's very like Indiana Jones inspired, where the players take on the role of natives or explorers that are coming to this island off like the pick it easy off the Sword Coast, like
Uh-huh.
so I guess where the Pacific would be called Primordia, which is basically like a place where there's a load of weird animals that just don't exist anywhere else,
Hmm.
and many of them just so happen to look like dinosaurs for no particular reason. Um, it's very lizard man troglodyte centric.
Ah.
Um, a little bit of wood elf in there, but it's mostly primitive races,
Mm-hmm.
and it's got that very old school adventure movie kind of feel.
Uh-huh. Sounds good.
So if you think of a trope, it's got like temples, somehow filled with spike pits and traps, um, dinosaurs, like giant golden statues, Incan sort of aesthetic, that kind of vibe.
Hmm.
Um, but before I wrote any of that, I wrote like a more general patch of jungle you might have to go through, and there's a few
Yeah.
routes around it just for a bit of variety. Um, so there's three different like scenarios. So first is the introduction to the place, like
Mm-hmm.
AKA it's hot. Um, there's a short cave you go through, then into the valley itself,
Yep.
where there is a fixed encounter occurs. You can choose to step in or just let it happen.
Uh-huh.
Um, nothing like completely like that would otherwise make the game unwinnable. It's just something that happens that the players can go, "Oh, I might want to do that," or "Let's just see where this is going." Um, and then there's a little cave bit with an introduction to difficult terrain because that's a weirdly underused mechanic a lot of the time.
Hmm.
That made that a little bit more important. So it's just a little 200-foot by 200-foot area to sort of get a bit of overworld travel done with and establish this is the rules of the realm. This is generally what your average patch of jungle is gonna potentially be like.
That's nice. It's like effectively the area is a sample of.
But yeah, effectively. I also came up with a new race as well, which is like a subspecies of lizard man, but they're more aquatic or swamp based. So um, well, they have water breathing. Um, they don't have the ability. They can't. They lose the ability to just make things out of bone within an hour. Um, Gave them a natural armor, so a base AC of 11. Uh, as long as they're not wearing armor. They can ignore water-based difficult terrain
Makes
because they live
sense.
in a swamp. I also thought I'd pop in a sub race as well for a bit of. So you got they call the Navis. So if you, according to, it's probably wrong, but based on I used a completely free English to Latin translator to sort of figure out a rough name for them. Um, Imagine like Warhammer skinks; they sort of have that kind of vibe to them.
Yeah.
Um, they had the basic navs, which is sort of like green or blue skinned, shorter lizard people, but look a bit more like newts rather than crocodiles. So that's going on. Then they have the salamanders, which are like bright red skinned,
Mm.
but they naturally produce poison.
Ooh,
So naturally they're immune to poison. Obviously,
makes
can't be
sense.
poisoned or take poison damage. Um, they can, however, they can use their natural poison to deal additional 1d4 damage to a weapon, or they can use a poison spit attack.
Ooh.
They can do that 3 times a day, and
Hmm.
that's just a racial feature rather than any sort of class ability. Um, and the poison, of course, can inflict the poison status.
Makes
So,
sense.
they can be quite. If you get a bit unlucky, they can be really mean and do a whole lot of poisoning very early on. Um, the idea was it's sort of like a a way that you could quickly incorporate like a random encounter with a group of these natives,
Yeah.
and some of them could be salamanders, some of them couldn't be.
Mm.
So you get a bit of diversity of enemy groups in there. Um, and they're rough. I think they only have like 8 hit points, so they're ideal for like. Of course, you can beef them up, but these ones are for like level 1 to 2 combat encounters. Nothing crazy, but something to just again to immerse yourself in the actual realm and establish what is normal. So there's a bit of a sample size.
Mm. Cool. Um, so this week I have continued on with the golems.
Oh yeah.
So this week is the mud golem. So they're a lot
Oh,
weaker. They're like only AC 12, only got 40 health. Speed's about the same. But they're a CR1 creature, so they're by far like the weakest of all the golems. So they're immune to
right.
acid because they're similar to the clay golem in this case, because similar material. Um, I have given them an ability called Abundant
Oh,
Mass. So, because they're made of mud, they will heal 1d6 hit points every turn they start on or adjacent to dirt and earth. So they could just, like, effectively just regain mass, basically, if they lose some health. To make up for the fact they're
okay.
kind of weak because they're made of mud. Most of the time, there's mud everywhere, right?
Okay.
They do also have the berserk downside of the clay golems, so there's that, because
Right.
to make up for the fact they still have 40 health for a CR1 creature, you know. And
Which is fairly high.
I've reduced their haste ability of the clay golem to once
Yeah.
per day. So instead of just a one like a recharge, it's just a once per day. They get the 2+2 bonus, advantage dex saving throws, and the slam attack as a bonus action. And I've also just removed the extra stuff from the slam, just making it very basic. Other than its healing
Right.
ability, they are just very, very basic because they're very, very cheap to make.
Okay. I've just a little thought off that. What you could do is if they so are they like goopy mud?
Um, kind of not quite. They're kind of like clumps, sort of semi-solid.
What one feature that might be quite kind of interesting is something based on the that if you were maybe if you deal fire damage to it,
Mm-hmm.
it gets slower, but its AC increases.
Interesting. I like that idea. Yeah, so it hardens.
And
Yeah.
yeah, but then also once that's done, if you want to go a step further, something like maybe it gains vulnerability to cold damage, sorry,
Mm.
while it's in that hardened state.
Yeah, I might add that. But
That you really play with it in that its muds is still still kind of gloopy and malleable.
mm. So I have their
Or
law. Oh, what? Okay.
or getting that, how um maybe if the mud's still kind of a stickier mud, maybe a roll of one to hit it with a melee weapon, you risk getting your weapon stuck in it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like claggy. It's just nuts.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think I actually prefer that actually because it's a case of it's not quite so like complicated, but it's still quite
Yeah,
useful.
yeah. It's not completely crippling either. It's just you're gonna have to roll a one to do it. Anyway, you were saying, carry on.
Yeah. So their lore, these are golems built for multitudes rather than power. Given what they're comprised of, they are exceedingly easy to find raw material with which to make them. However, they are the weakest of all golems and still take roughly the same time frame to build as the other lesser golems. This is the other part, though. Strangely, they sometimes form naturally, usually when golem cores are buried for a long enough period of time. There's a high concentration of conjuration magic in the environment. Wild mud golems are unruly, masterless, and extremely violent. So wild mud golems would always be berserk.
Okay,
The idea that
I do like a bit of it.
like a felled golem might have you destroy an iron golem or something and it's left like buried in the earth for long enough, its core might actually then become an mud golem with enough time.
Or maybe not all. Or that's a decent setup that's- for an adventure hook. A load of mud golems have appeared out of nowhere near where an iron golem was destroyed a few years ago.
Mm.
Like some sort of Voltron mud golem thing going on. That could be that could be a plot hook. That
Yeah, I like that. Maybe like it's like the remnants of an ancient war or something. A bunch of golem cores just reactivate and turn into mud golems.
I quite like the sound of that one. And imagine you can make them look like anything you like because they're just formed of literally mud. Just whatever you think's cool.
Mm. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. That's the second of our lower CR golems because I really thought we needed more of them, to be honest. So
But yeah, we went down different routes. Yeah, I was like, there's not enough dinosaurs in D&D. You're like, there's not enough golems in D&D.
yeah, so
Shall we just like should we just apply for Wizards of the Coast and just get a load of money off this? 'Cause I quite like the idea.
yeah,
Some cash.
um, Chaotic's Guide to Golems and Byzantian Dev's Dossier of Dangerous Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. That
Uh,
works too.
so rolling for regret this week. Do we have
Okay.
anything?
Uh, I do. Yes. It's another demon box that's been annoying.
Oh,
Um, it's the demonettes this time.
oh no.
It's just I'm trying to assemble them, and they look fine when they're assembled. There's the problem having them with them is the bits come off way too easily, and I've had to re-glue them like three times already.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's all spindly bodies and like arms that attach awkwardly at the wrist, and
Ooh.
assembling them is just really annoying. Not just makes me want to go back to the old Imperial Guard box and go, here's a body, here's a leg, that will do it.
Just kit bash.
Or the old Space Marine bodies were just ideal for that. They're just like
Mm.
they were the exact same size. I get why they changed it because they wanted dynamic poses, but
Yeah,
most it just make the assembly take so much longer.
it's again the modern
The
wizards,
charge of what like
not
into it
wizards, modern Warhammer problems. Just let's give this thing a really stupid, awesome pose. Yes, but how are we gonna build the thing?
makes your hand three different bits.
Yeah, it's like, please, why? Can you maybe make simpler, please?
Especially when it's a troop unit, that's always the real kicker.
Oh,
And there are
yeah.
10 of those to do.
Yeah, some of the Night Haunt stuff is like that, like the higher, like the like elite Night Haunt troops. It's just like, yes, this thing is flying in the air and is like spindly and has a weird like skull face thing that you have to put in separately, and it's really tiny. It's like, why? Why don't you just make that part of
Remember,
the
it's
main part of the mold? Mm,
Remember, it's brittle.
yeah.
Suspended. On nothing.
Uh,
And I know I did that one though, so you have to buy more boxes.
well, yeah. Oh
And do
well.
you have anything for this week?
Ooh. Uh, Surprisingly enough, not really. Um, it's not really a regret per se, but I have the what's they called? The War Machine. I think they're the archers, well, the crossbowmen for the like Elven faction,
Oh
and
yes.
I like them, but fucking goodness gracious, are the flipping crossbows really annoying because they keep falling off. Because the tiny little
Hey,
things, it's like, again, similar to your problem. Why didn't they make the entire crossbow part of that? Just part of the arm or whatever on the. Because they're not even on sprues, the War Machine stuff. They're in a little
they're
box,
just
so
loose, aren't
you
they?
don't even have the excuse. You could just make it part. You make the crossbow limb part of the crossbow, which is part of the arm, and then it
Get the
wouldn't
hand
have the
on the
issue.
crossbow as part of it.
Yeah, rather than me having to stick the crossbow limb on like 5 times, it keeps falling off because it's just such a
Right,
brittle
so it's the
connection.
cross. Yeah. So is the crossbow separate from the arm?
No, but it's the top bit,
I
like
think not.
the like I guess the bow limb of the crossbow. That's a separate part.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
And like,
that's gonna be a tiny bit as well.
yeah, it's small and it's really annoying. If it were plastic, it wouldn't be so bad because obviously with plastic glue it would just melt and effectively become part of it. But goodness
Yeah.
me, with it being metal, is it annoying?
Oh yeah, the super glue that you better get it right.
Yeah. Oh
There's
well.
probably 10 of them as well, isn't there? The whole squad.
Yeah, I think there's like 10 in the squad, and it's like
Hey,
painting them is going to be an awkwardness, and that's I've got a base coat at the moment, and I am dreading painting them, which isn't a good sign.
not great. This is why I had a phase where I just collected like the old out of production sculpts from Games Workshop
Hmm.
because they were one model. That was it. There
Yeah.
was barely any other additional bits.
Hmm. Yeah. So that's my rolling through regret for this week. And our final section this week is fantasy film. Do we have any fantasy film or animation or anything of the like to share this week?
Yes, you know what? Since we're doing um since we're since we were not honoring Akira Toriyama, I I kind of feel like if you haven't already seen it, I kind of feel like I have to recommend the the I think it's have to find it on some site now, but the first TV special where they introduced Trunks as a character for the future one, it's
Ah,
really good.
yeah. I think I
This is
vaguely
like where
remember
the
that.
Android Saga was new. It's like the prequel to the Android Saga, and it's really good.
Mm. So this ominous implication that the future is fucked. It's like, how is it fucked? It's fucked.
Yeah, it's just really good Dragon Ball. It's what you kind of that was like I think it was like the earliest signs that they were going to start getting weird with it and move it away from the Dragon Ball elements of it and make it more Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
Um, and also the first time they started teasing the fact that this is a place where Goku does not exist, which was actually for some people a bit refreshing.
It's like, finally a universe where Goku doesn't exist because that's different and actually has stakes because I can
Yeah.
actually
Oh yes,
suspend my
yes.
disbelief.
I had yeah. Well, there's no Dragon Balls. There's
Mm.
and most of the Rosy fighters are very much dead. Just Trunks and Gohan, and that's that against the world.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, especially when you consider that the things that destroyed the world that looked like a couple of like 90s teenagers.
Yeah. And a trucker and a trucker.
But that's the movie, which I'm annoyed isn't canon because I like 13. He's hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. But yes,
I
go and watch the special, and just watch Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball. That's your homework for this week, guys. Watch some
Dragon
Dragon
Ball.
Ball stuff or anything Akira
You know,
Toriyama.
yeah, although I would recommend though, just um, even if you've seen it already, just like watch something Dragon Ball, just turn your brain off.
Hmm.
It's just really fun. Why it's hot, it's what I think is why it's held up this entire time is that ever since it became like Dragon Ball Z properly, it's never pretended to be smarter than it is.
Hmm.
Like everyone knows it's gonna devolve into a really cool punch up with lasers in the middle. And it always does. And it's not surprising, but it's always entertaining.
It's one of those like
And that's
refreshingly
so,
formulaic things.
oh yeah. It's like the Mario games. What's he gonna do? He's gonna go do some puzzle platforming again
Hmm.
and probably fight Bowser again.
And maybe there's a
And
new
everyone's
power
gonna
up.
buy it again.
Yeah, there's a new
Here's
power
one
up.
new power up that
Yeah,
will
and
never make a return appearance.
there's like one new level mechanic, like the musical
Yeah,
turntable thingies from like 3D Land slash 3D World, or there's the oh yeah, you can climb up things, or there's the weird flower things that are timed and the musical levels in the new one. Just a
that's
little bit of
good.
spice, because you don't
As
really
the mandatory new thing for the new
yeah,
game.
just enough to keep things interesting.
Whereas with Dragon Ball, what the difference is with they got a new Super Saiyan hairstyle.
Yeah, it's just leveled up a bit. This is Super Saiyan Green.
Well, that was Brody's thing, wasn't it? The new one.
Yeah. Anyway, this week
Yes.
it's my like film night thing. It's just well, it's just a plug. Check out the shorts. I've been doing a D&D narrative thing across a bunch of shorts lately. Let me know what you guys think. Uh, purely on the account that I want to improve this. And it was just a little bit of an experiment I was running. Just using my miniatures and my dungeon tiles in an interesting way.
What you could do is one of them is look up like weird rulings and just try and interpret the rules as written in like really specific like encounters.
Oh, I like the sound of that.
Especially the stranger rulings that don't make sense. Like just read the rules for like if you look at like how a spell works. Um, and if it has to specify creature and construct or target and stuff like that,
Hmm.
if there's any sort of weird discrepancies, like, sorry, you can't target that. It's not a construct.
Sorry, that particular object is not a blancmange. What? Sorry, the spell
What that
specifies
spell?
specifies blancmange. What?
Maybe that's maybe that's what like, when wizard colleges they run out of good spells to actually name. So that's why every wizard's putting their name in the spell, make it seem original when it's just magic missile.
Yeah. Oh, this is Jim's magic missile. It's more powerful, but it can hit you in the face. I guess.
Because there was like a patent on magic missile, you had to change it to make it legally distinct.
This is Melf's acid arrow, not to be confused with Melf's acid arrow. Uh,
Then he made like one spell with like that too. So he made this one spell that was like, well, my originality's done. Don't need more spells.
I made an arrow made of acid, and despite the fact that acid is one of the most resisted damage types, I'm not gonna make any more spells. You sure? Yeah, yeah,
I
good.
think of peak. I think I'm done.
Either that, or maybe he's the type of wizard who like invented a bunch of spells, gave them generic names, and he was like, by the time he was old, he's like, shit, no one knows I made any of these spells. I'm going to die like forgotten as a wizard. I'd best like invent one spell that
Property of
actually has my
Mel.
fucking name of, so I actually get my name in the history books.
It's got the same kind of energy as. Do you remember like the were you on the internet from that weird phase where a lot of people were having like internet OCs. The joke was do not steal.
Oh yeah. Oh, that was a very cringy period of time, wasn't it?
It's half of them were like, ironically, we're still back on Dragon Ball. They were like some like cell from um one of the Dragon Ball episodes that changed the hair color.
Uh, yeah, this is my original
Original character
OC.
look steel
His name is Shell. He's not Cell. He looks like him, and he just has a giant turtle
shell
shell. So he's like part
is red.
turtle. Yeah, yeah, he's red. Uh,
It's like really poorly done, like
yeah.
on Photoshop.
This
Or the
character,
other one was still on just Sonic.
no,
Sonic with the other big ones for that.
yeah, no, my character is not Piccolo. His name is Flute. Thank you very much.
Flute, long lost brother of Pickle.
Uh,
The Sonic OC is the other. It was that or Naruto or Sonic. Uh, that's all I
yeah.
remember really.
I mean, we don't have to go necessarily even go into fucking Sonic territory. We don't even have to mention the one person who made a whole bunch of Sonic OCs. Don't even have
Did
to
you ever play the
mention them.
game where you ever tried just putting your first name into Google and just putting the hedgehog after it?
Oh my goodness.
It's really funny. I don't think there's a single person. Maybe if your name is uh definitely not phonetic, but outside of that, you're probably still gonna get one.
Yeah. Oh no. Why is this one just Sonic but black? Not like black as in skin color, like everything except his like skin bits, like he's just like darker blue.
That was like the first thing to do with like an OC was its main character, but dark and edgy.
Yeah. This guy, hang on a minute. This guy, this guy's just like bee colored. Hang on, I won't post it in the chat 'cause that would like upset the original creator. I'll PM it you. This fucking thing. What is
Oh,
this? Motherfucking
his face like
wasp-looking ass.
okay. It's I will say though, for a Sonic OC, that's not terribly drawn.
No, it looks fine. It's just the concept is a bit all over the place, but the execution is surprisingly good. However,
Black and yellow's cool,
what's
but
up with this
everywhere.
fucking eyeshadow? Just yes,
What's with the,
I have
hey,
I have
are those
emo
really
makeup.
tall boots or are his legs that long? Yeah, I
I don't know.
can't unsee.
I think he's like slightly bionic. He's got like weird. Are those wait? His arms part bionic and like extra thick, or are those like gloves, or maybe like knee pads? I can't
Oh
tell.
my God.
Oh,
Oh, this. Okay, so it's not the first one I found, but we're like one, two, three, four, five, nine posts in on a Sam the Hedgehog. And okay. So before I get it, so what? Because the clue is it's like the most deviant art, non fetish deviant art OC ever. What do you
oh,
think it looks like?
oh! I feel like it like the line art just looks completely just weird. It's like grainy looking line art. Looks like it was drawn in crayon, that kind of thing. Colored in with actual colored
Surprisingly,
pencils.
it's not that bad. But okay, so she's got well, by the time it turns into a hedgehog, as in you've got the like Sonic proportions. For some reason, where so it's got like w- weird tall boots with spikes on. Very important they're spiky, and like weird fur on the outside of the boots, and it's wearing a
Oh,
hoodie,
of course. There's always a
some
hoodie.
sort of like yeah, like one of those like goth girl hairband things, and of course two knives,
It- Oh, that
one of
is.
which is holding like the wrong way around.
Oh, that is so. That ow the edge.
Oh, and like weird baggy jeans with gold chains on.
Ugh. The motherfucker's built like a Kingdom Hearts character. Chains and zips everywhere.
Just needs like the X on the forehead. I think it's perfect.
Just needs to have like an X in their name, yeah. My name is Xander the Hedgehog. What?
I'm gonna look that up now. I'm on what? I'm gonna guarantee you that's a thing as well. But first, ooh, okay. Xander, Xander the Hedgehog. I think the only Xander I know in fiction would have been there was a character called that in the Buffy show, which I know you played the game of that one.
I think I like watched an episode of Buffy once and was like, "What is happening?"
Oh, oh, that's that's brilliant. I'm gonna put that in the chat. That's too funny. He's got a snowboard thing and he's super stretchy. You've got to see this.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this. Oh dear.
Oh, this one's special. Um, oh my God, I love him. I love it.
Oh, why has he got a dent? His forehead is just dent. This
I
poor
don't
man.
know.
This poor man has experienced a triple lobotomy. Oh,
The thing.
oh, there's so much wrong with this image. Why is his arm like that? Why is he like, like straighter than a plank? What is wrong with his board? Uh, why does one of his hands have more fingers than the other? Uh, those goggles don't even fit his eyes.
Oh God, they don't. Uh, I just noticed that. I think it was really weird about the stretchy face.
Yeah, his head looks weirdly flat and then stretched out the wrong way. It looks like his head's been hit by a. No, actually, no. The entirety of him looks like he's been hit by a steamroller. Maybe that's what's happened to him. There's...
The only thing that looks proportioned is his weird snowboard thing.
Yeah, it's. I think that's his. I'm assuming this is a Sonic Riders thing where they had the hoverboards. It just
Oh,
does not look
I
right.
bet that's it.
Also, the sh- ironically, the shadowing and lighting effects on this are perfectly fine. Actually, shadow lighting perfectly fine. The sense of 3D, there isn't any. This does not look three dimensional in the slightest. Oh,
Oh, that's like that's when I think of people saying this is my OC. This is the kind of
yeah.
art I think
I
about.
I've seen Parappa
Right.
the rapper characters that are less two dimensional than this.
Never play those games or just know like the mean
I
bits.
played a demo of the first one, and at the time I had like no rhythm, so I couldn't even get past the demo. Uh,
I remember the Onion Man just talking about punching and chopping things.
yeah, kick, chop, punch, and kick the door, etc., etc. Anyway, on that
Mm.
onion, um, I think it's time to end the stream. I hope you guys have enjoyed. You better enjoyed. If you haven't enjoyed, we don't have a PR department yet. We don't have an HR department, so you'll just have to imagine, I guess.
The PR department has been fired
Yeah.
for making bigoted comments on Twitter.
Yes. Uh, the PR department has been fired. Um, we've replaced them
Health and
with a
safety
moose. Yeah,
fired.
Elf and Safety fired. We fired the tea making person because they made coffee one time.
It's not us. They've been fired. Effective.
If you are working for Byzantian Brewscast after the 25th of November, you will be tossed. Anyway,
Dear.
We're gonna
Yeah,
raid.
that's see you all next week.
Yep. See you all next week when I raid Overlight. Don't forget the raid message below. You can get some channel points, the emote, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye bye for now.
Bye.